Good day, fellow movie fans. I don't know where that came from.
It's October. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I was working in the lab. It's Monday Movie Club, right? Okay, Movie Club Monday. And so we're back to Star Wars. We are up to the final chapter in Skywalker Saga, Episode 9, Rise of the Skywalker. I am Frank Gaffney. It says that right there. Amy Goldman is eating what?
Honey wheat braided pretzels.
What happened to
fantastic.
Nan? I thought she was joining us. Nan?
I'm texting her now.
Okay. And Joel, of course, our resident geek, and Mark Wotitz Gartner, our resident idiot.
Okay.
And Annie is in the same room. This is very unusual, Annie. You're usually somewhere,
Yeah,
not sitting in your house.
Danny went camping this weekend, so I'm by myself.
You should have done it from the restaurant. That's what you should have done.
Yeah.
All right, so episode 9, I said last week that this was a divisive conclusion to the third trilogy, and it's true because so many threads were dropped and others came to some odd conclusions. Many fanboys were not happy where we ended up. Joel? Yeah.
Well, you know,
Personally, I was fine with it. But of course, as always, I have nits to pick. So Kylo Ren finds the Tesseract, which will lead him to Emperor Palpatine. Explain to me, please, how did Palpatine come back?
he just
He's
did.
I don't think he ever really died, personally.
They kind of, if you're looking in the background, they kind of hint at the fact that there are clones of him, and that
He's a
this is
clone.
probably a clone because when he dropped down the shaft, his spirit went into a clone that was on the Death Star.
I'm
I-
sorry,
it's
if they were gonna clone me, I'd say pick the young skinny me, not the old ugly looking one.
But he was
All right.
always old and ugly looking.
No,
but hold
he
on.
was okay looking when he was the senator.
Yeah,
I think there's a nice parallel between this and Harry Potter, because when you look at Voldemort, he did the same thing. Basically, he transferred his spirit into other things, but because it's like dark magic that you're not allowed to use, your body gets really warped. And the both of them became
He looked like a zombie in this.
Yeah.
all they had to do was shove a line in there, and say, "Yeah, I cloned myself," and we could have moved on.
Right? And I wouldn't have had a question.
Exactly.
All right, so playing the chess game from the original, that was adorable, really. It's like us getting out an old Atari console and playing, so cute. I love nostalgia, and there was a lot of it in this movie. But what the hell is light speed skipping?
On my notes.
Let's just make up a thing. I mean, it was fun.
It was kind of cool. It's
But-
kind of like
okay.
in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Was that it? When they went through the jumps like 50 times or something, and their
So
eyeballs.
they were light speed skipping, but they didn't steal the name from Star Wars.
Yeah.
The actors are great. Oscar Isaac is the perfect Han Solo. He really is. I really loved him in this. And the new digital Carrie Fisher is fine. I read that they animated her based on other movies, and then they used bits of dialogue that she recorded that weren't used in the other two movies. But, most times it does seem a little shoehorned in. They're like, oh, we got a good line. Where can we use it? But I'm happy they figured it out. I'm glad she was a part of it, at least. That was great. And then Rey needs a compass. A compass. Why couldn't she just use her Apple Watch or something? And then the Knights of Ren came back. Now we're nostalgic for things from episode 7. Because they left them out of 8, right? They weren't in 8. And then now they're back here. Because J.J. Abrams was like, hey, you didn't use my Knights of Ren. I want them back. And then, of course, the big nostalgia factor was the return of Lando Calrissian, who got to say that I got a bad feeling about this line this time.
Check that off.
Sorry. Maybe I should
At least
stop.
for somebody else.
You go
Frank.
first. All right. And then, I don't know how I feel about the whole quicksand thing and falling down and right on top of the dagger that Ray is gonna need later. And then C-3PO has the information, but his programming won't let him share it.
That was a little.
Yeah,
convenient.
convenient screenwriting,
Weird.
of course. So, and so they need to get the info out of C-3PO, and Poe says, I know a black market droid smith. Doesn't everybody? Of course he knows a black market droid smith. And then BB-8 gets a boyfriend who looks like the Pixar thing. That little robot that looks like the Pixar doll.
Lampy.
Lampy. And then, so is this like from the original trilogy, I Am Your Father? Is she really Palpatine's granddaughter?
Yeah, as far as we know.
I so.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing to contradict that.
And there were a few side stories. I'm like, do we really need to find a whole slew of ex-stormtroopers and have a whole side story? That could have cut a good 15, 20 minutes out of the movie.
I like that part.
You did. Okay. So Ray spends the entire movie trying to find the Wayfinder, and Kylo Ren smashes it in 2 seconds. Like, here, boop, you got it. And then we go through this pointless light saber battle between the two of them on the ship, and it's raining, of course, because that'll look really neat when we see it. But and then only to have Rey save Kylo Ren anyway, because she's not a bastard. But it just seemed like the stakes weren't there for me. I'm like, and it was nice that Harrison Ford came back.
Did not expect that because this was the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah, that was nice. It was very nice. Although he could have used a little gel in his hair to stop it from flying away. And then, so 30 years have gone by and they still didn't perfect the damn hologram. It still looks like crap. And I love that General Hux was like, I'm the spy. That was great. And he's so, it's like your typical Amy can relate. You hate your boss so much, you don't give a fuck, and you're like, I'm gonna be the spy, and I'm gonna turn him into the National Shoe Association, something. Turn him in.
I thought, I don't know. I didn't like that part. I thought it was a little. I don't know if I believe that he would have really done that. He was very.
They built
much
the character up. Go ahead,
say
Mark.
again.
They built the character up differently, and now is all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we need a spy because we wrote ourselves into a corner. Who we got? That guy.
And the way that he did it, the way they did it, like, I'm the spy. It was a little, I don't know, questionable.
And then at the end of the movie, Chewie finally gets his medal. That because in the New Hope he did not get a medal. He was the only one who didn't have one. But that Mos Def probably got it on eBay. It's not a real medal. It's not. And then it ends with Rey heading to Skywalker Ranch on Tatooine. And the claim is she is, at least spiritually, she's a Skywalker. Great ending. Everybody's happy. And then and then she could marry, the last Skywalker. There's going to be another one, and they'll make little Skywalkers. And then in about 15 years from now, we'll have another trilogy. That's my plan. Anybody?
But
no?
There is no more Skywalker.
There is. They'll find somebody. And although it felt like 16 hours had passed while I was watching it, I still enjoyed it. This sequel really is the second set of sequels is really what that first trilogy, second trilogy, 1, 2, and 3.
What the prequels
should have been. I mean, really. And I wouldn't mind watching this trilogy again. I've seen them twice all the way through, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So this one gets another very solid 3 stars from me. I really enjoyed it. All right, Anne, you want to go next? She has dinner reservations again, so she might be
Monday morning.
Okay, that's some worry.
Yeah.
And- Sorry, I took
I-
all your notes.
Yeah, that's okay. I like the movie. I enjoyed it. It was a 3.5 for me, as was the whole trilogy. I really did enjoy it. Some of the things that I liked, like Ray at one point does the superhero landing. I was like,
Yes,
oh,
I
that's so
thought of
funny.
you when she did that. The head down, the hand, it was 100%.
Loved it, loved it, loved it, right? And then like one of the other things was like now they have like even weirder powers, right? Like healing the serpent, and you knew that was gonna come up
I was
again.
gonna ask, was that something we saw before, that Jedi can heal people and things? Did I forget that?
No,
I guess it depends how strong your power is.
How much is needed for the movie?
Yes.
Yes. It also seemed to me a little like the 8 hours versus like the other movies, they had a little more time. So everything seemed crunched, like they had to get it all done within the 8 hours, I guess. I like that it gave a little bit of Poe's background in this, where he was from and what he did before. So that was interesting. That he was a spice runner.
That
Right.
is funny.
And
Sorry, kids, I can no longer hear you.
oh no, what happened?
talk about him.
Oh, there we go. I don't know. Something happened and then I plugged in my speaker so I could hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that last part. Sure, it was fascinating.
Oh, I like Poe had a little backstory, and we learned that he was a spice runner and stuff. And
Yeah,
that
but
was
how wasted was Felicity, really? You saw her face for like twice, maybe?
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't even
Anybody?
realize that was her.
yeah, like they could have
Carrie
just,
Russell, yeah.
yeah, they had like a stand-in the whole time. And of course, JJ wants Carrie because he loves her, because she was Felicity for him, but
Oh, he did Felicity too?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this could have been absolutely anybody in that suit.
yeah.
She's like, I can
Wow.
only make it on Thursday, so just show my face then.
They probably grabbed Daniel Craig again to
There you
fill out
go.
the suit.
Or Prince Harry and William.
Yeah.
I didn't read any trivia. Was anybody in this that I didn't see?
Rose.
I saw Rose.
Yeah, all what, 47 seconds of her
I
her
know.
role?
You would think she would have had a little bit of a story arc, but they were like,
Well,
eh.
That's what
I'll
happens.
talk about that.
Yeah.
I got
Right.
you.
So I take notes and then I forget what they're about. You know?
Read exactly what it
Come on.
says and we'll decipher it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it said Ben, no scars. So at one
And no
point, I guess
scars.
his scars disappeared.
He had the scar here.
He
It
had the
wasn't
scar there.
nearly as pronounced as the last movie, but it was.
It's been like what, 3 years, so it healed or
It was
something.
there, yeah. It was
They
there, but
healed.
there.
They healed.
And then who says I know?
Oh, yeah, Harrison Ford
was-
said it again.
Right?
He
There
said
was
it
an-
again when Kylo Ren said, I don't know, you're my dad or whatever he said. And Harrison Ford said, I know.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
missed
get
that.
that.
Yeah,
he
I missed
did.
that.
He did, yeah.
And that, I had written down Leia's lightsaber. Did we never saw that before, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
She never used it, never
Right.
ever
Nope.
did anything with it.
Nope.
But it's nice that it was commemorated.
Right.
And then there was that like Independence Day speech that, you
Yeah.
know,
When Poe was rallying them up,
yeah,
Come on.
I was totally like,
that's always the Henry IV, right?
Yeah.
Henry
They would
IV.
give up when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor speech from Animal.
Germans? Shut up, he's on a roll.
yeah.
And what
Yeah.
did Finn want to tell her? Like he was going to tell her something, and we never found out what he was going to tell her. Is
I
that
think
ever
he-
going to happen?
No,
No.
I think just that she had a little mustard on her. That was it. It wasn't like a big thing.
Yes.
I am your brother.
Yeah, you totally thought that he was going to say he loved her or some shit.
Yeah.
But
But-
it went nowhere, so
And,
There it
is.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and he didn't even get to love Rose. It was like, I remember you, but see ya.
Yep. So yeah, it was a 3.5 because there were like things that were just like I didn't understand or still had questions about.
Or didn't
And
love.
then for me, so just a quick rundown, my
Oh, yeah.
4 and 5 were my top favorites, right? 4 and then 5.
Right.
Then 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then 1, 3, and 2. So 2 was my least favorite.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
That is interesting.
Wow.
Should I tell mine now?
Yeah.
To go into that route? I went 5, 4, 7, 6, 8, 9, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 7,
7,
6,
6,
8,
eight,
9. Oh, I can do
9,
that.
3, 2,
3, 2,
1.
1.
Plus 1, plus 1, plus 2.
2.
Well,
Cool
I
reference.
liked 1, so I liked little Anakin.
Well, he's an adorable kid.
He is, yeah.
Not anymore.
But yeah, no,
Terrible
I liked it all. And as I was telling Frank before, Amy and Mark, the Star Wars Hotel is opening in Walt Disney World next year.
Oh, wow.
And they have a 2-day immersive experience there where you have to dress as character. Your room is on like a room from a Starship Cruiser. Looks tiny, by the way. And you get to do all these different things.
It's like a 2-day itinerary where you're.
Yes, so look it up online, the Star
Oh,
Wars.
so,
experience.
all right. So, but you could
Sounds
stay at the
cute.
hotel without doing the immersive experience.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think this hotel is specifically
Only-
designed just for the immersive experience. That's why it's ridiculously expensive. As I said, it's like being at Westworld.
It's $1,500 a night,
I get that.
Oh,
Per
wow.
person.
and you have
Wow.
to have a 2-night minimum.
Yes,
I
because
don't think there's a maximum. I think you can only do.
you can only do
Oh,
2
okay.
nights.
They
2 days
they gotta,
and out.
Annie said the rooms look small. They gotta shove people in, turn them out, and get them around and do it again. So
Yes, and you have to bring your own costume. You have to be in costume.
Wow.
And
Because you're in the Star Wars universe.
yes, so like they're putting you
For 2
in
days.
the movie practically.
Yeah, for 2 days.
So we should
It
all
sounds
find
great.
the time to go. Right, Aim?
Oh, sure. I
Yes.
would love to. It sounds fun, as much as I really don't give a shit about Star Wars. That would be
Yes.
fun.
And the lightsaber, you can build your own lightsaber for $200 only.
Oh, my God, really?
Like
and you
a
can hang it on
wand.
the wall with your $200 Harry Potter wand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
The
have
wand,
those
is,
also.
the wand isn't $200, like $60, right?
I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think
wasn't.
It's
I remember
not
it being
200.
expensive. Something there was expensive when we were there.
No,
it was-
I mean, I know the kids bought
Oh,
them, so they couldn't have
that's-
been.
Yeah.
Natasha's saying it wasn't just the wand; it was like the robe and the other stuff that you had
Oh,
to get.
yeah, if you're gonna go a whole thing, but I think the wand was only $60. Only.
I'll stick with my $20 plastic sonic screwdriver. Thank you.
And then do we all pick a different character to dress up as, or?
All right, and I doubt sincerely this is happening, so I think we should move on.
Okay.
Aw.
All right. Anne, you want to go next? What happened
Yeah,
to
I
Ann?
liked it. What?
What happened to Ann? Should be dropping in any second.
Yeah, she hasn't responded. Like I said last week, I liked it a lot more than I expected to, based on what so many people said, how this movie sucked. Bye, honey. Have fun. Enjoy.
Bye, Annie.
Good night.
Where are you
Good night.
going?
Should go into all you can eat sushi place,
Oh, God, enjoy.
right?
Have fun.
At 10 o'clock in the morning? And
So I don't remember how many stars I gave last week. Do you have any idea? Was it like 3.25?
I thought it was like 2.
Not last
No.
week, no. And the week before, we were all the same at 3.5. This
right.
was my
I'll look it up.
This was my favorite trilogy. I can't rank them all the way you guys did because I don't remember anything. But I would watch 7, 8, 9 before any of the other movies anytime. Yeah.
4, 5, and 6.
Yes, because I think everybody loves 4, 5, and 6 because we never saw this before and it's a whole new thing and it's Star Wars. But I think if you drop those 3
2
movies
3/4.
from last week,
Yeah, you gave it 2 3/4, lady.
Oh, shit.
So you gotta go at least. You said
You better renumber. You got to renumber.
No.
so. You said you like this better than The Force Awakens.
No, I like this bet. I don't know. I
Trilogy.
don't think I did. I think I liked it in order of 7, 8, 9 in that order. So I think I got to go 3 stars with last week and 2 3/4 then this week at least, or 3 1/4 last week and 3 this week, because I really enjoyed them both. We decided, we discussed last week how it was bloated and everything, and I didn't feel that way with this one. The problem I had mostly with this one was it felt like we were going to have this wonderful story with Kylo Ren, and we didn't really, I feel like he was cheated. His whole, turning back to the goods, to the light side. I felt like it was just boom, it happened. So I thought a lot of that, he was cheated out of a lot of good moments there that he could have had. One thing I went, oh, I loved was when she had the knife thing with the directions on, and she pulled the thing out and then went like this, and it lined up perfectly. And it
Right into the Goonies. There's the
pointed
Goonies.
to the Tesseract. Oh, is it from the Goonies? I didn't remember that. I love that. I thought that was great. And also more, I read in the trivia, I didn't realize this, but more, bringing back the nostalgia. Warwick Davis and his son played the 2 Ewoks in the end, which I thought was adorable. And then they had like a whole 5-minute bit in the extras of him and his son redoing the costumes and everything. That was great. So, and I hated the Ewoks, but it was great seeing them. I had no real interest in Lando Calrissian. I loved seeing him. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I was like, Lando, who cares? I loved seeing Han Solo again. I was never bored. It was a little slow out of the 3. It was definitely the one I would have zoomed ahead a little bit, but I didn't. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. All 3 of them. So I would probably go maybe 7, 8, 9, 5, 4, 6, 3, 2, 1. Gun to my head. And again, what I was saying before is if you plopped 4, 5, and 6 into 2021 and watched them today, you'd be like, what the fuck? There was so much bad writing and corniness in it. Not nearly as bad as 1, 2, and 3. But they would not.
Then you'd walk around saying, wow, these things just copied 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. No.
Twice.
But 7, 8, 9, I very much felt like were great action movies, great acting, great characters. There was nobody that I hated except for Snoke, because it's the stupidest name I've ever heard. But it was played by what's his nuts,
Yeah.
from
Gollum.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Gollum.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, yeah.
Claw. It was Claw too in the Marvel universe.
Yes.
It
Right,
was South African. Yeah.
right.
He gets around. All right, Joel.
Yeah. We're moving into a with the behind the scenes stuff that went on and Carrie Fisher's untimely death. Things were kind of shoehorned into.
I like untimely death.
It was a very untimely death. It was sad, and
It was sad.
they had to what's the word?
It's a rewrite shit.
Not just rewrite shit. They had to create from the back into the rest of the movie.
Right.
They had to take the outcome of where they needed to be and work it backwards and figure out, all right, how are we going to get to this now? Because we no longer have, we've killed off Han Solo, we've killed off Luke Skywalker, and now unfortunately we can't really use Carrie Fisher very much. So how do we make this work? And
we bring in Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, but even that was, he's there for he's, first of all, he's on a planet when we first see him that I'm like, why would he be here? He's not that type of person. Like I was actually reading that originally Rian Johnson was going to use him as the code breaker on the casino planet, which would have made 1,000 times more sense.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they didn't. And now he's on some backwater desert planet with, aliens and such. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
And within like 200 yards of where they just happened to land on an entire planet.
Exactly.
Of course.
There's a lot of very
Coincidental.
coincidental things because they needed them to be there. Oh, we need a spy. It's Hux. You know,
Right.
we've built up this character over the other two movies, and now all of a sudden he's the spy. At least they gave him a I'd rather see Kylo Ren dead and the Empire destroyed than you know, see him win kind of thing. All right, whatever.
But going back to Hux, which you all said, I thought it was a great idea to pick him because he was supposed to be the last one you would expect. Who else could it have been? I actually thought it was going to be Kylo Ren.
That's part of the problem, is there was no one else to expect because
Right.
they had no one else to point to.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that they couldn't have built that up in some other manner. And that's part of the problem I have with this specific trilogy, is that, you know, for whatever we want to complain about the prequels, George Lucas went in with a point A and I'm moving to point Z. Here
Well,
it's like,
That's what I was
you
going to say, that like with Kevin Feige, they do something in movie number 7, it's going to affect movie number 20. Here,
Exactly.
you're definitely right. You don't feel that way
this
at all.
was
They're
a
all
lot of, I'm going to hand off the baton. And I think I said this
Yeah.
last week, you know, okay, we're running a race. J.J. Abrams hands off to Ryan Johnson, who's supposed to hand off to Colin Trevorrow, but Colin Trevorrow gets tripped up by Kathleen Kennedy. So she brings back in J.J. Abrams. And, you know, it's,
And unfortunately, they were on a time schedule.
yes.
So they were very rushed to get this out. And they
With
should have
the
taken,
changes, sorry, with the
should've-
changes in directors though, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead, Frank.
there were
they should
changes.
have taken the extra year to work on it and make it the best possible.
The 3 years instead of
just
2, yeah.
rushing into, we've already got the studio, we already got the dates, we have to go.
Yeah, but they don't make movies like that anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
we've got the date locked in and that's how we're going to meet it. That's
Right.
how we get crappy movies.
And still
But
COVID
Joel, back in,
fucked up the-
what were the director changes meant to be? Was it really supposed to go from JJ to Ryan Johnson?
To Colin Trevorrow, yes.
That was always the
That
plan.
was the original
They could
intention.
focus on their part of the trilogy.
Exactly.
But they did, but it sounds like they didn't really have a master plan.
No,
Right.
there was no master plan. And Colin Trevorrow's script is, or the last draft he worked on, which was from December of 2016. I think he finished it the same month Carrie Fisher passed away.
Was that the animated clip you sent us?
Yeah, I sent you that animated clip.
Yeah.
The guy actually kind of reviews it. It's funny because he kind of pokes fun at what we actually got at the same time. Colin Trevorrow's script is very interesting. And obviously enough of it worked its way into the final film because he still has story credit.
Mm.
You know, you know, Rose has a much bigger part. Finn has a bigger part. You know, that they're not really kind of tossed aside. Like the actors even felt like they were tossed aside in this film. You know, Finn actually leads a group of, like he kind of does in this film, with the stormtroopers that have kind of like left
Deserted.
order. Yeah, deserted. He actually meets up with a stormtrooper who deserts in front of him and then leads an entire
Ooh.
battalion in the middle of the battle against the First Order. That would have been cool,
Yeah.
you know. And you know, it ends with him and Rose opening like a place for force sensitive people to kind of, you know, work on their training. Rey kind of goes off on her own thing, you know, and then
She does
shows up
here.
at their place. Yeah, she's not a Palpatine because the Emperor's dead and we don't get to see him again, thankfully. So it's an interesting script. I don't think, I mean, that obviously being like, you know, a third draft, it would have needed like a few more rewrites before they went into production. But
And then Carrie Fisher died.
exactly. So, you know, they had to reverse engineer
Sorry, what did you say? Her
Untimely.
her untimely death.
untimely despite it. All right, so but Joel, talk about what's here in the movie.
Yes. So
Not
what's here
what-
in the
what we
movie?
could have had.
What's here in the movie is the best we're gonna get given the circumstances we were given. It's not a horrible film. It's not a great film. It's after 9 movies, it's kind of like, all right, if this is how it has to end, this is how it has to end. I'm not thrilled. I'm not disappointed. I'm just there for it. There's a lot of lackadaisical stuff in it for me. There's a lot of
Daisy
missed
Ridley.
Yeah, no, I'm not lackadaisy really. I wish that you know, there was more in certain spots. I wish they hadn't brought back the Emperor. It's like, all right, we
Yeah,
needed a
that-
villain.
I
It
definitely
seems
felt that.
lazy.
Yeah.
Seems a
It
little
definitely
lazy.
felt lazy.
But it's
Yeah.
fun to
Although-
think that's the only actor now. Oh, that's not true. Anthony Daniels. But it's fun to have him back in all three trilogies, I thought.
Okay. It's, as I said, I don't hate it. It's not, I can watch the sequel trilogy again several times if I needed to or wanted to. It's not like the prequel trilogy where it's like, doing homework.
Right.
The nuns are going to wrap my knuckles if I don't watch the movie, especially the first one. So
Wait a minute, you didn't go to
That's a
Catholic
Jewish
school.
boy.
I did not.
I went to Catholic school.
That well,
All
I
right,
figured
so Joel, you're sounding very 3 stars.
yes, it's 3 stars.
Okay.
And then if you had to put a gun to my head, is that politically correct to say that at this point? We can say put a gun. to our-
Amy had a gun to her head as well.
I would go with 5, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 1.
Where
kinda
was
see what
1? 1 was like.
one
down
was
there.
like right,
Right
really
here.
down here.
I'm in sync with your prequels.
Okay,
There's some gaps in there, so
it's very close to mine except for no, it's not. I take that back. Mark,
I'll start off by saying, speaking of Catholic school, my dad was actually punched in the face by a priest when he was in Catholic school for goofing around. That was in the days when you would
Punched in
get
the
racked.
face.
wow.
No, no, he really was. Okay, I'll start off my stars. I did 3 1/4 for The Last Jedi. I did 3 1/2 for Force Awakens. This one for me is in between it, so I'm obviously going to go 7, 9, 8 for this. I give it 3 1/4 for this.
okay.
So for me, I'll air my nits. I don't understand why Palpatine hired Planet of the Apes as henchmen. What?
I did notice that at one point. I was like, why is there an ape all of a sudden doing that?
Well, apes. It's bizarre. That was something that should have been in the
Yeah.
prequels. So like it just, I didn't get it. Hux. We already talked about Hux being a spy. I didn't buy that. The way that Leia died, sacrificing herself just to say, "Hi Ben, I'm dead."
It's still better than her mother's death.
Oh yeah.
Final word thing.
Fair. Yeah. That whole lineage do not die well. That's all I'm going to say. And that's what I was going to say.
You could say the same line here. We're losing her. I don't know why, but we're losing her.
Seriously. But I was going to say last week, if I had been there last week, I was going to say they should have done. I think Carrie Fisher died before the release of The Last Jedi. So when we were watching in the theater and Kylo Ren blew up the ship and she died, was out in space, I was like, okay, that was fitting. Wait, why is she coming back to life? What's going on here? That was a perfect way they could have worked it in. And I was like, they ruined it. So I don't know. My take, had I been the director. Lastly, I'm disappointed that the Finn Rose romance. I mean, we talked about it already. There's a lot of things that were just kind of storylines that went nowhere. That specifically, I really liked I wasn't a big fan of Last Jedi, but I liked Finn and Rose, their little relationship building up. And then this movie it's like, oh, hey, like patting her on the head. I did not like that at all.
Which, hang
Well,
on,
I
I don't mean to
think
interrupt,
part
but
of-
that just reminds me real quickly when I went, oh God, when Kylo Ren and Rey of course they had a kiss. I'm like, really? That's all.
The very end.
I think the
No.
reason that Rose didn't really get more play in this movie was because, like the original trilogy, they just wanted to have the 3.
And that's, getting back to what you guys were talking about
2
before.
men and a woman,
Which I get. And that's why, I remember reading that when this movie first came out, that Finn was tossed aside as well. And I forget what I thought when I first saw it, but I will say upon this rewatch, I thought he was featured alongside Poe and Rey. I mean, Rey is supposed to be the star, so she was maybe a little bit up here, but, Poe and Finn were right there. I thought they didn't toss him aside at all. They did toss Rose aside and a few other people, but I was fine. And I was glad Greg Grunberg died. Not that he died. I'm not glad he dies. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure he talked like, hey, JJ, you got to get me out in style here, which was fun.
What's funny is I didn't realize, I forgot that JJ directed this one. So as soon as I saw both him and then what's his nuts from Lost?
Dominic.
Yes.
What's his?
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Monahan, yeah.
this is definitely a JJ Abrams movie. And Greg got a little chubby there, but I always love him. He's adorable.
Everybody caught John Williams,
Yes.
Who's
Yes, he
it?
was the bartender.
the bartender.
No. Oh my God,
Yes.
I did not realize that.
No, never saw it.
Damn.
All right, I'm ready to go on to the good stuff. You guys already said it. Billy D. Williams is back. That was fun for me, even despite that it was very convenient. He was just there. Harrison Ford, too. I wasn't expecting that when I first saw that. But your take, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. He's not a Jedi. It wasn't his ghost. He was just there talking, like it was a memory talking to Kylo. I guess it was just a conversation.
I just took it as we were just seeing his memories.
Yeah, it was like in
He
the
wasn't really there. He
remember-
was just thinking it and we saw
Just
it.
talking to
Yeah.
himself.
Which-
It was his
yeah,
dad.
what would Daddy do?
yeah, which Zack Snyder movie had Kevin Costner come back from the dead and speak to Henry Cavill? I forget. They all blend together.
Did he come back?
Yeah,
It's
he
I don't
okay.
remember him doing
They
that.
do.
Okay. Usually I find random silly droid voices annoying, but I totally love Babu,
did.
the little guy that erased and by the way, if anybody didn't know, I just happened to look up who that voice was. That's the voice of Moaning Myrtle from the Harry Potter movies.
Yep.
If anybody cares. I thought the fights between Rey and Ren were better because I had a problem with their fight choreography when they fought the Red Guard or whatever the name was in the second movie. But and I don't know how many there were. There were like 3 or 4. There were the one behind me, but the one I really liked was when she snuck onto the ship and went into his quarters, and he was down on the planet looking for her, and they kept fighting. And the way they turned, it was just a cool camera angle how it would turn, and they'd be in one room, and then they'd be outside in the rain, and then when he smashed it and knew where it was, I just thought that, and how he would constantly fight her when she was on the planet and got the beads where they met King
That
Randall
was
Calrissian.
wonderful.
And he grabbed it out. That just
I knew where she
those-
was.
so I like their connection and their fighting in this one a lot more. Frank, you got something? You got to.
I just was, again, with the new powers, it's like, so there were times when some things would come into the other, the Kylo Ren's world, but no, some things wouldn't. And, so it was just like, it seemed a little random, but yeah, it was kind of cool.
Wait, Frank, before we continue, Frank, why is your cabinet behind you empty? Are you moving again?
Yes.
It's been 6 months. I mean, come on, he's got to move.
It's
Yeah.
completely empty.
This is not the same cabinet as I've been sitting in front of for the
Oh.
last 5 months. We
Have you
took
not
down,
unpacked?
we took down the other cabinet. It was a built-in wall unit, and we took it down. And this is our regular China cabinet that we've always had.
Oh, I remember that, sure.
Yeah. So and see the wall is kind of green there. So we have to paint and all of that. So we weren't going to put stuff in here. We're going to have to move it to paint. Sidebar.
You have a sidebar too?
We do.
Yeah, pan the camera. I'll wrap up. My inner nerd really enjoyed watching the destroyed Death Star on Endor, the ocean, because when you go through it, you can recognize certain parts of it. When Rey was climbing up the middle center part, it's the same thing that Luke was climbing up, I think, in Return of the Jedi or whatever. I definitely recognize parts of that they rebuilt, but obviously made it look like it was old and rusted now. So that was fun. Overall, I found this to be very satisfying. I know there was
I want to also say that we ended up on Tatooine, which was very
Which
sweet.
was wonderful.
the very end. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect movie like you guys said. But the title for me, when I first saw it, I was a little bit like misleading. I was expecting a different, but that's good writing. If you surprise, gotcha. So they got me with that.
Yeah.
And finally, if they do make a porn parody of The Rise of Skywalker, they don't even have to change the name. The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
It works as it is. Done.
That is true.
That is true.
All right, Mark, you have to give us your ranking of the 9.
I'm definitely going to be different. I'm 4, 6, 5, 7, 9, 8, 2, 3, 1.
Jenny, I got your number.
Go what?
8,
That's your
6, 7,
number.
5, 3,
Oh, nice. Yes.
8675309.
One thing you reminded me of, Mark, now I can't remember. What was the last couple of things you said?
You were going to do a porno with.
I was gonna do a porn,
porn.
yes, that was it, yes. Oh, one of the things that I read that I wouldn't have remembered, but all of you, I'm sure, do, when Luke was going like this and the ship was coming up out of the, it was Luke who did that, right? The
Yes.
ship came up out of the water. It was the exact same thing that Yoda did,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
which was great. The 42 years, this festival happens every 42 years, was A New Hope was 42 years before this movie came out. That's why they picked
I
42.
catch that. That's great.
I read that. And what I personally love that nobody mentioned, and I don't know if anybody in the world mentioned it, maybe it meant nothing, but I just thought it was really cool that Kylo Ren was as evil as you can get from the two nicest parents versus Rey, who was as sweet as you can get and came from Palpatine. So I kind of like that. Anybody thought of it, if it means anything. That's all.
Oh, definitely. It was definitely a reversal of yeah. Yeah. Love that too.
Yeah. Nature versus nurture.
There you go. There you go. And I did like the end. I was okay with their kiss. You saw it coming for 3 movies. They had this unshakable bond. They were definitely meant to coexist together. And part of me would have liked a little bit more of a happier ending where he did live and maybe they went off and made little Skywalkers or whatever. But it worked. It worked the way it was. More realistic this way.
Okay. Yeah.
Joel, who are you telling no to? The dog?
Yeah, Einstein's going through something. I don't know what.
Because it's Midge's birthday.
No, it's Midge's birthday, and he's angry that he's not getting anything. I
Okay.
think he's
Joel, just use the Force on them.
Yeah, it doesn't work on him. Natasha's got food here, so that's the problem.
You're not hungry.
I am blaming you.
You don't want that food. This is not the food you're looking for.
This is not the food you're looking for.
I am starving. It's almost 7.
Okay, the dog's got fed, so he's just
All right, so-
scotch.
All right, so that's the Skywalker saga. I certainly enjoyed doing it. And this is not the trilogy you wanted to see. And so we're done with that, but we're gonna watch the 2 what do you call them? Offshoots?
Star Wars stories.
Star Wars stories, Rogue One and Solo, in the next 2 weeks. And then we're gonna get to What If, which is concluded already, right? It's done,
Yes,
right?
yes, it's over.
It's done. So we'll get to that in 2 weeks. Anybody have final comments?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, then
It was a fun ride. Fun ride.
fun ride. And as always, may the force be with you.
And also with you.
But not with you.
Or you.